This is Nick.
This is Jack.
Welcome back. It is Monday, October 6th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This is a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
All right, Yetis, Jack and I have been keeping track. Stocks, gold, and Bitcoin are all shockingly at record highs right now.
All of that despite a 5th day of the government shutdown.
Jack and I call this the Treasury trifecta. We've never seen all three up at the same time.
Stocks, rocks, and blocks.
But besties, Jack and I, we got a fantastic show for you today. Jack, what do we got on the T-Boy?
For our first story, the number 1 app on your phone all weekend was Sora. Sora is basically TikTok, but AI videos only.
So Jack and I jumped in, and we will compare artificial intelligence to artificial ingredients.
For our second story, the grocery that has grown 50% in the last 5 years, it's sauces. We have become a condiment country.
Fancy ketchups, barbecues, mustards, and hot chili sauces are booming right now, and it's because of maxing.
And our third and final story is the financial trend du jour. Opening up joint bank accounts with your best friend to save for a trip together.
That's a good idea, Jack. But better idea? Turn your friendship into an investing fund.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
Oh, what a mix of stories to start the week. Love the mix, Jack.
Funny thing happened to Nick last weekend, and it leads to an existential question.
Okay, so here's the deal, besties. I got in a Waymo robotaxi. It was in the wrong space in front of the ferry building by our studio. And so a cop stood in front of the Waymo and started writing a ticket.
And last week, the same thing made national news, didn't it, Nick?
Jack, a Waymo robotaxi made an illegal left turn and got pulled over by a policeman.
Here's the problem.
Yep.
The cop in both scenarios could not fill out the ticket.
Because the ticket required the driver's name, and there's no option when the driver's a robot.
So what do we do here? Should Waymo's CEO get the ticket?
Or Jack, should the engineering team at Google be responsible for this mishap?
Or in a future of self-driving cars, should tickets not even exist?
Jack, maybe the robotaxi flirts with the police officer, try to get out of it, you know what I mean? Like maybe open up the hood for the guy, there you go.
Well, actually, Yetis, the answer to robot crimes may lie in philosophy.
Which Jack and I have studied. For example, René Descartes once said, "I think, therefore I am."
So he'd say the taxi should get the ticket because it self-thinks.
But then Jack, Voltaire once said, "Common sense is not common."
So he'd say Google should get the ticket because they own the car and the car can't be held accountable.
But then, of course, Jack, Confucius once said, "Knowledge is knowing the extent of one's ignorance."
So he'd say the answer is to not know the answer.
Yetis, we will leave it up to you because let us know in the comments what you're thinking.
If a robot makes a traffic violation, who should be held responsible?
Yeah, if Waymo runs a red light, who's getting that ticket, man?
What seems to be the problem, officer?
License and registration. My, you look good today. Jack, let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in a dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, the number 1 app in the App Store right now, it's Sora by OpenAI, even though it's invite only.
Sora is a social media feed with deepfake videos only. It is addictively fun, but it's also dangerous and law-breaking and simply bizarre.
It is a freaky world. But Yetis, first, let's tell a little history here. OpenAI launched a text-based artificial intelligence product first.
That was called ChatGPT.
Then they launched an image artificial intelligence.
That was called DALL-E.
And then video artificial intelligence.
That's called Sora.
All of those launched in the last 3 years, each of them mind-blowing and novel.
Because you can generate artificial content almost instantly.
But here's the thing, Yetis. As Jack and I know from being in this industry, we live in a video world, hence all of our work on YouTube lately.
So the launch of a standalone Sora app last week by OpenAI was mind-blowing squared.
Because here's why. Sora 2 lets you turn yourself into the main character of your own blockbuster fantasy.
And it's a wildly simple process to make that happen. Here's how it works. You must say into the camera 3 numbers, any 3 numbers, then take a selfie and a picture of your side profile too, and then look up. That's all OpenAI needs.
That's it. It took us like 4 seconds. And with that, you can create a video of you doing anything you want, permitting you follow the very few rules that Sam Altman has imposed.
So one guy created a Sports Center style highlight video of himself scoring the game-winning goal for Arsenal Football Club.
Or Jack, what kind of other stuff are you going to see on Sora right now?
One woman did herself as Uma Thurman in her favorite movie, Kill Bill, kung fu fighting the bad guys, but it was her, not Uma. Nick, you can finally live out your Batman fantasy. The only question is, are you Robin or are you Alfred?
Where is he, Jack? Where is he?
But here's the most wild part of it all, Yetis. This app hit #1 in the App Store, even though most people aren't allowed to use it.
Because get this, OpenAI has limited the number of users who can sign up, and yet it's still #1.
The reason why they're limiting the users is that despite the insane number of data centers they've been building, they don't have the computing power to handle unlimited make a blockbuster movie but of me as the star videos.
If we all signed up for Sora right now, like the ice caps would melt in Antarctica.
Dude, these are the most energy consuming queries you can do. Like a tree dies every time you push enter.
But remember, you can't get on unless you get the invite. So people are selling their Sora 2 invites to the app, like on eBay right now.
As Nick said, it's a wild world we're living in.
Yeah, spoiler, by the way, I got an invite and I whipped up a surprise video for you, Jack. I'm just going to post it on Instagram for all the Yetis and you'll see it then.
All right, cool.
But here's why this is a huge, fascinating deal, besties. This is the first AI that's also social media.
It's the first AI that lets you not just make artificial content, but watch and scroll other people's artificial content.
Because the app is a vertical video feed, TikTok style, but only Sora-generated AI videos.
It's like a gated community. We only allow AI in this feed.
Yeah, so psychologically, you don't have to worry about misinformation because it's all misinformation.
Yeah, everything in here is a deepfake. Now, we should point out Zuckerberg launched the same thing the week before OpenAI. It's called Meta Vibes, but
it's not considered as good. Yeah, it's just not considered as good right now. However, most of the videos in the new Sora app are ridiculous, obviously not real, and that's what people say is addicting and fun.
But Yetis, there's also a cameo feature in the Sora app that allows you to include yourself and other users in the video, like Leo DiCaprio if Leo sets his profile to public. And that's where the deepfakes can start to get dangerous.
Because like you can imagine a fake video of a public figure passing as real doing something provocative if that got posted outside of Sora.
Like if I did a video of Nick stealing Levi's jeans from a Levi's store and I published it on Instagram, that wouldn't be too good for Nick, would it?
I would never. I mean, I'm a khaki guy, Jack. I'm a khaki guy.
But people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The videos are that real life looking.
No, it would ruin my rap. It would ruin the pod, Jack. I mean, you know what this kind of reminds me of, man, is this is YouTube 15 years ago. The same challenge, too.
True. You're talking about the IP theft?
Right, because there is a lot of IP theft going down, and OpenAI is kind of currently just letting it slide.
We saw this video of some guy battling Pikachu. There's no way Nintendo gave OpenAI the rights to use Pikachu.
Basically, Sam Altman saying, we're going to move fast and break things. Hey, Pikachu, sue me now. We'll deal with it later. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are out there testing the Sora AI video app?
Could artificial intelligence end up like artificial ingredients?
Here's what Jack and I are thinking, besties. Artificial ingredients were invented to make food last longer, stay fresher, taste better, to scale food.
And it's the same with AI-generated content.
But you see, the backlash came to artificial ingredients, and we expect the same kind of backlash to come to artificial content, too.
You think 10 minutes of TikTok scrolling makes you feel disoriented?
Jack, try the 10 minutes I just spent on Sora. It's honestly, it's like I just chugged a Mountain Dew and binged on some Pringles. That's what it feels like.
You need to read a very boring physical paper book to offset the experience you just had in Sora.
Exactly. Using Sora is the digital equivalent of pounding Doritos.
Yetis, we use artificial intelligence for productivity, to do the admin and the research that AI can do way faster than we can.
But Jack and I don't use AI to generate the content for this pod because that could feel brain rotty.
AI-generated content, it's going through the same trajectory as artificial ingredients.
An empty calorie treat, but not necessarily your whole diet. For our second story, Americans are buying 50% more sauce than before the pandemic. Sauce is your new fridge flex.
We've become a condiment country, and Heinz is cashing in on it.
Now, a couple weeks ago, Jack, I did say that the countertop was the most valuable real estate in your home.
True. You and your spouse will get in a major fight over what appliances go on that finite space.
Yeah, been there, done that. But the most valuable real estate in your home actually is the fridge.
And the most valuable real estate in your fridge is the shelf.
Because besties, Jack and I have noticed increasingly our fridge shelves are filled with crowded circular jars and bottles of sauce.
And the data backs it up. According to market researcher Mintel, spending by Americans on sauce rose from $8 billion in 2019 to $12 billion last year.
That's a 50% jump. On this pod, Jack and I have covered bachans, truff, sriracha, pink sauce, chili crunch, all of them hundreds of millions of dollars in sales.
But Heinz is not just the biggest sauce company in America. It's the OG inventor of bottled sauces, and it is surging too.
And Heinz made a major insight recently that's particularly driving their sales.
Well, they discovered that micro tweaks to the ingredients can drive major growth.
For example, ketchup with cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. What do they say, Jack?
Sales rose 17%. Mayonnaise with avocado oil?
Oh, sales for that up 24% in the last year.
The result is an entire hierarchy of sauces.
You are willing to pay for 12 different types of premium mustard. The new Flex is extra virgin olive oil.
If you say the new Flex again, I'm going to take a spoonful of honey.
By the way, Jack, we have 5 different chilies in our fridge. Molly thinks I smell different depending on which chili oil I use.
Wait, like you secrete the sauce?
She's like, oh, it's a boon day or there was a Mamafukum dinner.
I think a big reason is these things don't expire. Like, that's why I have so many sauces.
But besties, here's what Jack and I find fascinating about this story. The sauce renaissance has attracted a surprising new entrant.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
Chains are taking a bite of the sauce, too.
Because the margins for running a restaurant, besties, they're as thin as prosciutto.
They're so thin, I can't even see it.
The
Rent, staffing, fresh produce, overtime. You got to roll 50 napkins with silverware inside every shift.
But, Jack, licensing your restaurant brand into a sauce bottle, producing at one factory with economies of scale?
That is a profit, puppy.
And that is why Arby's, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, Panda Express, they have all launched bottled sauces in the last 3 years for grocery stores.
And the biggest investor in this bottled sauce trend is KFC. They launched an entire new restaurant concept this summer called Saucy.
All that Saucy sells are chicken tenders and a dozen different sauces.
Because as KFC says, everyone is obsessed with sauce.
Yeah. Now, Kraft Heinz, interestingly, to go full circle, they're going even further. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
They're breaking the company up into 2 and putting all the sauces on one of the companies.
Heinz, Grey Poupon, barbecue, all the other sauces are now going to be part of a publicly traded pure play sauce business doing $15 billion in sales.
If the ticker symbol isn't DIP,
Oh, yeah, Jack.
then I'm quitting this industry.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over in Fancy Sauce?
Where there is maxing, even the min grows.
You see, Yetis, there are a few reasons for this sauce surge. In this economy, people are saving money by cooking at home, and you need your own bottles of sauce.
And if you're going to save money by cooking at home, you can afford a mini splurge of a fancy bottle of barbecue.
But the main driver of the sauce surge appears to be protein maxing. Sauces are piggybacking on the protein trend.
Just look at red meat. Steak sales are up nationwide, despite the high price of steak. Therefore, steak sauce sales are up too.
A1 sales up 5%. So, besties, this protein maxing moment, it is driving a separate sauce renaissance.
Because where you have chicken, you need some dip.
Hey, Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, the new financial trend, get this, joint savings accounts with your lifelong bestie.
Friends building financial intimacy and saving for a trip is a great idea.
Great idea.
A greater idea? Turn your friendship into a fund.
A stock fund.
Nick,
Yes, Jack.
an early sign that I've decided you're a friend of mine is when I stop keeping tabs. I'll buy your Mountain Dew today. Don't worry about it. I know you'll get me a slice of pizza tomorrow. It's all going to even out in the long run.
Oh, totally. It's so awkward when like the Venmos are just going back and forth. At a certain point, it's just like, it cancels out the Venmos, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So I cut that all out.
Yetis today, Gen Z's keeping tabs by taking a leap of financial faith with their best friends.
The new trend among friends is to open a joint bank account to save for a group trip with each other.
Basically, each one has to contribute $100 at the end of every month.
And after 2 years, you've got $4,000 for that Vegas trip friendiversary situation.
And that trip to Vegas is a lot more fun when you all paid for it in the same fund.
Now, we think financial intimacy can very much improve friendships for several reasons.
Jack, and let's whip out the whiteboard here. There are a few reasons why this intimacy has a high ROI.
First, it can break the taboo of talking about money, which is a healthy thing to do.
Second, it is more enjoyable. Like, if I miss this shot, I'm going to put $5 into our Acapulco account.
Also, a joint bank account with somebody with a savings goal keeps you accountable.
Yeah, like when you have a New Year's resolution to run every day and you commit to it with a friend of yours.
It's harder to skip out on a savings goal when your roommate is in the same bank account and sees the balance.
And finally, communal experiences are simply the best experiences.
Sometimes when I experience something epic and I'm alone, I get upset. I wish somebody was here to experience it with me.
But Jack, we earned this trip together. That's a different type of feeling that you get.
Now, we should sprinkle on a warning here.
Yeah.
Only do this with a friend whom you trust.
Because a joint savings account means any one person can withdraw all the money.
So if you doubt Debbie's trustworthiness at all, do not open a joint savings account with her.
Yeah, because Debbie could withdraw that cash and dash.
But if you do trust your buddy Timmy, it's a cool idea. But we have an even better one.
Oh, Jack and I got a way better one. So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies doing the financial intimacy joint bank account?
How about a shared brokerage account? Turn your friendship into a fund.
Yeah, turn your friendship into a stock fund. You see, Yetis, Jack and I are big believers in investing money, if you can risk it, instead of saving money.
Because $1,000 invested today tends to double every 7 years. But $1,000 saved pretty much stays $1,000 forever.
And over the course of a lifetime, saving all that money instead of investing all that money, it has a giant difference in your wealth.
But if you're new to investing, picking stocks with a friend in a joint brokerage account, that might help you because you're not doing it alone.
Plus, Jack, you have a monthly rebalancing party if you do this, like where you each bring 5 companies and products you like that happen to have publicly traded stocks you can invest in.
And you chat about it at the bar at a restaurant.
Yeah, how would this go down, Jack? What are you thinking?
Can I tell you about Build-A-Bear?
Yeah.
The stock is plushier than the teddies you grew up hugging.
Oh, Jack, when we were roommates, we just bought a Shark Ninja air fryer. Maybe it's time we buy Shark Ninja stock.
Now, you should establish some rules because you both have skin in the game. A written agreement that you sign over a drink is our recommendation.
Besties, add it all up, and this is not financial advice or relationship advice.
It's financial relationship advice.
With a shared brokerage account, you can turn friendship into a fund. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us to kick off the week?
OpenAI launched a standalone app for creating and viewing AI-generated videos, and it hit #1 in the App Store.
And we're already seeing it, Yetis. Could artificial intelligence end up like artificial ingredients?
For our second story, we have become a condiment country. Sauce sales are up 50% in the last 5 years.
It is piggybacking on the protein maxing trend because where there's meat, there is money to go around.
And our third and final story is the financial trend on TikTok. Joint bank accounts with your bestie to save for a trip.
But our idea? Joint stock brokerage accounts. Turn your friendship into a fund.
But besties, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, we just hit that treasury trifecta. The S&P 500, Bitcoin, and gold all just hit all-time highs on Friday.
It's very rare for stocks, rocks, and blocks all to be at record highs. And all of this is happening despite the government shutdown.
You know, besties, we expected crypto and gold to go up during a moment of uncertainty like this, but it typically wouldn't see stocks be going up as well.
We'll cover the trend as it continues.
And second, coffee is the new eggs. Coffee prices are up 22% this year to also an all-time high.
Blame bad weather causing a bad harvest and tariffs as the double whammy causing double-digit latte prices.
The only winner here, Nespresso. At-home coffee is getting a boost right now.
And finally, the big potential winner of Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl launch, Target.
They were the exclusive retailer of Taylor's Eras Tour book last Christmas, and they got in on the new album too.
Yeah, they're the exclusive seller of the vinyl records of the album.
Oh, also, Taylor released her album in theaters, music videos as a feature film, and that's expected to have brought in $40 million last weekend.
89 minutes, comprised of all 12 tracks, each with their own music video, plus behind the scenes.
Now, time for the best fact yet, which, because it's Monday, means T-Boy Trivia. Jack, what do we got on the pod?
We are in the heat of MLB baseball playoffs right now. Well, did you know that 143 years ago was the first ever World Series game?
Jack, I believe it was the Cincinnati Red Stockings versus the Chicago White Stockings. Real names.
That's right. Chicago would change their name to the White Sox, and Cincinnati would change their name to simply the Reds.
But then Boston changed their name to the Red Sox, interestingly.
Which leads to our trivia. Why were so many teams back in the day named after their socks colors?
Besties, comment with your answers, and we'll reveal the right one in tomorrow's pod. Yetis, you look fantastic today. And remember, Jack and I told you last week, season 1 of our weekly show, The Best Idea Yet, just wrapped up after 50 episodes.
And we got nominated for Best Business Podcast, a very competitive category for the Signal Awards.
We're thrilled about it. We've been surging. We're up to number 2, so we need your help, your vote to help us win and become number 1.
All you gotta do is click the link in the episode description, sign in with your Gmail or whatever if you want a username and password, and then vote.
We'd love for you to vote, and we'd love to win the award. And we just love having you with us.
I think you can sign in with Facebook if you want.
What the heck? Whatever it takes, vote as many times as you want. Jack and I will see you there. Celebrate the wins. And before we go, a happy birthday to legendary Yeti Alan Rosenfeld, turning 73 in Charleston, South Carolina.
He's in his Skechers slip-ons right now, eating a Western omelet with some Heinz ketchup.
And Dan Lejang from lovely Los Angeles just got married and is headed to Italy.
And Nick and I are sending warm and cozy and loving thoughts to Haley and Ryder Carey in Aberdeen, South Dakota, because they're having baby number 2 sometime this week.
You got this, guys. And Lisa and John Dory in Fort Collins, Colorado are starting their 26th year running a pumpkin patch, the biggest and the best pumpkins out there.
And a shout out to Sebastian Bosma for launching Bobby, the Chief of Staff AI for your life.
And Clark Qualls is celebrating 5 years old down in San Antonio, Texas. Congrats, Clark.
And happy birthday to Ali Aguirre in Atlanta, Georgia.
And Dina Goodman in Edina, Minnesota has got a new fantastic job.
And happy birthday on that 41st.
And Kevin Dwyer in Jacksonville, Florida is celebrating the birthday by taking the GRE, baby.
And happy birthday to Bella Picone in Truckee, California. And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own some Bitcoin and ETFs of the S&P 500.